Time is money, and when it comes to compounding, it literally is. Did you know that by simply investing your money for a longer period, you can watch it grow exponentially? In this video, we will break down the power of time and compounding, how it works, the rules to follow, and what happens when you get impatient and cash out early. But before we dive in, let me tell you an interesting story about a king and a poet. Once upon a time, a poet was invited to the king's darbar. He recited a beautiful poem, and the king was so impressed that he offered to grant the poet anything he wished for. The court expected him to ask for gold, palaces, or something grand. But the poet had a very simple request. He asked for rice on chessboard. He wanted 1 grain of rice on the first square, 2 on the next, 4, then 8, doubling on every square. It seemed like an easy request. The king immediately agreed. The servant began placing rice, 1 on the first block, 2nd on the second, 4 on the third, 8 on the fourth. By the 10th block, 512 grains. By the 20th block, it was 5,20,288 grains. At 32nd block, 214 crores 74 lakhs 83,648 grains of rice. Before they even reached the end, the king realized he has to give away his kingdom's entire stock of rice. And how did it all start? From just 1 grain. This is the magic of compounding. We often underestimate its power. But if you start investing now, your money will grow beyond your imagination by the time you retire. When we think of the most powerful forces in the world, we think of gravity, black holes, and nuclear force. But guess what? Albert Einstein called compounding interest the eighth wonder of the world. Alright, let's keep it simple. So, what is compounding? Compounding is when your money makes money and then that money makes money too. It's like a snowball rolling down the hill. The longer it rolls, the bigger it gets. For example, if you invest 10,000 and earn 10% return annually, after 1 year, you will have 11,000. Now in year 2, you're not earning 10% on just 10,000 but on 11,000. That's compounding in action. Your money is working for you. Here's where it gets interesting. The true power of compounding is unlocked over time. Imagine two friends. Rahul starts investing 10,000 per month at the age of 25. Priya starts at 30. Both earn 12% return annually. By the time they are 60, Rahul's investment grows to 5.65 crores. Priya's investment 3 crores. Even though they both invested 10,000 per month, Rahul gave his money an extra 10 years to compound, and that made all the difference. And the lesson? Start early. The longer you wait, the more you have to invest to catch up. It's like planting a tree. The sooner you plant, the taller and stronger it grows. Time is the multiplier of wealth. For those who love numbers, here's the formula behind compounding. FV is equal to PV into 1 plus I by N to the power of N into T, where FV stands for future value, how much your investments will grow. PV stands for present value, your initial investment. I stands for annual interest rate in decimal form. N stands for number of times interest is compounded per year, and T stands for time in years. To simplify, this formula shows how your money grows when it earns interest on both the principal amount and the interest you have already earned. Let's put this into an example. If you invest 1 lakh at 10% annual interest for 5 years compounded annually, your future value would be 1,61,051, which is 1 lakh into 1.1 to the power of 5. But if compounded monthly, the future value would be 1,64,870. That's 3,819 more just by changing compounding frequency. More frequent compounding equals faster growth. If all this math is confusing, let's make it easy with the rule of 72. Just take 72 and divide it by your annual interest rate to estimate how many years it will take for your money to double. At 12% return, it takes 6 years to double, which is 72 by 12. At 6% return, it takes 12 years to double. At 24% returns, it takes 3 years to double. If you invest 1 lakh at 12% return, in 6 years it becomes 2 lakhs. At 24% in the same time it becomes 4 lakhs. By 12 years, 16 lakhs. This rule also shows why high interest debt is dangerous. If a credit card charges 36% interest, your debt doubles in 2 years. Scary, right? That's why compounding can be your best friend when investing or your worst enemy when it comes to debt. Now, let's address the big question. Why shouldn't I cash out my portfolio when it grows at 15 to 20%? Here's why. When you cash out early, you're killing compounding. A 15 to 20% gain in a year or two feels great, but you're only scratching the surface. If you leave your money invested for 10 years, the same 1 lakh at 20% return grows to 6.19 lakh. And in 20 years, 38 lakhs, and that's a massive 38x return. Short term gains are tempting, but staying invested is what builds true wealth. Also, taxes play a role. In India, short term capital gains, which is less than a year, is taxed at 20%. Long term capital gains, that is over a year, is taxed at only 12.5% for gains above 1.25 lakh. So, if you cash out early, you not only miss out on compounding but also pay higher taxes. Similarly, the magic of compounding is visible more clearly when you give it time. The increased compounding periods give you higher returns without even you realizing it. The longer you stay invested, the better the returns, even dramatic the results. So, I hope by now you've understood the importance of time and compounding. To sum it up, think of your investments like a seed. A small 20% gain today might feel good, but imagine what it could grow into 10, 20, or even 30 years. True financial freedom comes from letting compounding work its magic over time. Whether it's retiring early, buying your dream home, or even simply living a life on your terms. By staying invested, you are not just growing wealth, you are securing peace of mind and ensuring your future self has the freedom to chase bigger dreams without financial stress. Remember, patience is the secret to lasting wealth. Let compounding do its magic and your future self will thank you. That's it from me. I'm Nikhil Varghese. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And also subscribe to learn how to make your finances less tricky with FinNiki.